Thank you so much for joining me again on Evolving. I'm Cory Kastle. What's up? I'm hanging out today with my new friend Maudy. Maudy, how are we doing?
Hey, James, doing well. How about you? It's a nice day here. I heard a nice day over there, so we're just rocking and rolling today, right?
Hell yeah. Heck yes. Yeah. Uh, how's life going for you? How's everything? I mean, I know. So, are you out like just trying to promote and do a bunch of podcast appearances and stuff? Are you like getting yourself out there? I know, like you had. Do you have a new book coming out? Because I know you had a few books out. Is this the
Yeah,
whole the 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 push at this point is to kind of like uh, get in front of more eyes and get in front of more ears and things like that?
yep, and that's just what we're looking forward and doing now. Me and my friend Gail, she's my co-author for 26 years this year, so long time. And yes, I'm an author, award-winning author in Europe. And my name is Maudy Fowler. I am from Holland. Not your typical blonde hair, blue eyes, but my parents came from the islands of New Guinea. I always explain that because many people speak Spanish to me and I speak Dutch. So, yes, we have written a couple of books, probably 9 or 10, but this one is actually Angel. Let me show it to you if you can see it. Angel Whispers, and this one is Angel Messages. And the new one is a poetry book that we have out via the UK and published over there, and that is also nationwide and global, and that's called Angel Love from Above. So yes, been busy doing Zooms and presentations, in home presentations, but just in the Charlotte surroundings,
Okay.
and a little bit over the border, but that's it.
Well, I kind of wanna, I know we chatted a little bit, but I just want to let you know that this is not gonna be like every other podcast. I don't sit and go, well, why don't you tell me every single thing about yourself and every single like what made you start? What made you? I'm just curious. What made you start it? Like I'm not do I don't do that performance thing. I I I did I did a fair amount of research on you, and I've watched a bunch of other people interviewing you, and they're like, "Tell me about. I'm so fascinated by the fucking." Like that's not my, that's not my, that's not my gig. I don't do that. But
That's
but
cool. That's cool.
I'm very grateful. I'm very grateful to lend this platform and this outlet in some way because I think that what you're doing is so fascinating and it's so cool and I kind of want to dig into it a little bit and let's kind of get to know each other for the most part. If nothing else great comes from this, we'll at least be friends at the end.
Oh, yeah, definitely. And I just live in the moment,
Yeah.
live in the moment and just see which way, that moment will take us. But, I carry a backpack and I put all the memories in there, so to speak.
Well,
So, yeah. Thank you for having me today. It's just so cool. I was so much looking forward to thank you.
the backpack is kind of like part of your one of your catchphrases, right? When you say like turning
Yeah.
baggage into backpacks or something.
Yeah, I go through life with what I do, changing the luggages into backpacks.
Right.
And that means that when people have a heavy life, then I come in and go. I always come for that reason in that season, I always say. And that's usually to see, what's heavy and what can be enlightened. And the most important thing is to leave people with peace of mind because that is so much needed, especially in this crazy time.
People do carry a lot that they could. It would serve them a lot more to put down what they're carrying
Yeah,
in a lot of
yeah,
situations.
yeah. And especially what they go through. I mean, it's so much to travel around with that many people see that it's getting to a point where depression hits, and that doesn't need to be. It's not necessary. So that's why, there's so many people there to lift that. And me and Gail, we just come for that personal touch and outreach and reach out and to see what we can do, never to tell the people what they have to do, but to show them in a way, how, you know? So that's cool.
My grandmother, my grandmother, she owned a limousine business, right? So like her house phone was her business phone, and when you said we do the personal touch, my grandmother would answer the phone every day. Personal touch limousine. So whenever, so when, whenever my grandmother would call our house, I would answer the phone. Personal touch limousine, just like just to mess with her. But yes, but I ought to answer the phone that way. It's been a very long time since I've done.
You should record that so you don't have to answer.
So,
But
um,
yeah,
so when you have your communications, and I know I'm 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 gonna assume that some of the people who are watching this probably already know who it is I'm talking. So like it'll be some of your audience, some of my audience, and they'll be able to see what the name is, and they'll be able to see like what your handle is. So if anybody wanted to do that research and see or have you hear the questions you've been asked over and over and over, and the questions that you've answered over and over and over, they can do that other places. I just want to kind of like get something different. I want to like understand a little bit more, because I I saw a thing where you were talking about how like this gift has kind of come to you at like 11 years old, right? Is that what like when you were just a little
yeah,
girl? Uh,
yeah, and like I said, it's I thought everybody was like me growing up, who can hear the angels, who can, just um, I thought I knew everybody growing up, but that's how my gift is wired, which is actually, to listen to the angels and to know of the hardships. And, in a different way growing up, I just gave them my thoughts and make them laugh, and that's sometimes all people need, and then I just a little bit tiptoed around it because you don't want to freak people out, and that was fine. But you also get, of course, bullied by it, and persecuted by it, which, of course, that's the start of my gift as a life training, which is for me to recognize, because life is really to recognize and acknowledge, to see what you need to change or what you have to do different to be understood. Because, when you're gifted, you really misunderstood. And so I had to learn that it's not what I say, but how I say it. And I learned from the older people. And I learned, to always make it in a funny way and laughable way, so that I would stop my own sadness that people misunderstood me. So, and I got that far from all of the wisdom from these older people, because I love older people when growing up. And so God trained me in a very interesting way, and it's called a little bit growing up hardship. That now, yeah, it's cool. I'm here now to help them. But like I said, it's not what I say, but how I say it. And to help them understand that this is how your loved ones in heaven can communicate. And so you will hear, and see the signs. But it takes all of us actually to give that moment, to understand what they're trying to say when you go through trials, tribulations, to, your own crossroads or your standstills, and, and then making decisions that makes you uncertain and insecure. So That's how heaven speaks to us to show us signs, the heavenly signs. So for me, I recognize it. It's kind of like my world and my language. But when people ask, then I answer. And sometimes, you know, um, growing up, I volunteered, and ooh, they got me in trouble. So I steer clear from that. So that's a little bit of a whole journey.
How do you meet cynicism? Like how do you meet somebody who's automatically gonna go like be a non-believer in what messages you're hearing and relaying? The people who are like a
Yeah.
cynic thing.
Yeah, well, that's a good question, and thank you for that because there's some. Miguel and I did many presentations in New York, in Staten Island, Upper Saddle River, in that area. So we were also invited by just a small example, people who were kind of testing and challenging me, and this was a rap world and R&B, and I just was so excited to meet all of them because I'm not familiar in that world and didn't know the popularity of the people who are now popular. So we're standing on stage there, and they actually were sitting there trying to challenge and test me, which was fine, because I had a good life training, so I'm aware and I'm prepared. But then it kept on going, and then I'm a Leo, so when my bucket is full, I will let you know that I am there to help you. And if you are testing and challenging me, then I'll throw it right back at you. But if it keeps on going, I'll let them know, please be seated or please find yourself to the exit. And then, and a couple of them actually were interested, and then they were frightened because they didn't know what to expect. And that's with me. I never know what to expect because I never know what I'm going to say. But it
Right.
feels like I know them all. I know the loved ones in heaven because that's how I'm gifted and wired. I'm really not a psychic or a medium. I'm just clear hearing. So with that gift, I can listen to the voice and I'm immediately in their business. So when this person was asking me, oh, you don't know nothing about me, and blah, 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 and they go sit like this and have a stance, and I was thinking, oh, here we go again. So then I said, well, would you like me to tell the audience here that you signed a contract with Germany, and would you let me know for how much? Because your grandma is very talkative at this moment. And then he looked at me and he says, no, thank you. And he got up and left, right? And I was thinking, oh, that was fast. And then later on, after four people after him, or three people, Gail said, Marty's here really to help you. So please ask a question. So, and then the next person went to try that again while the other person left the room. And then this one said, wanted to test again. Oh, well, like him, you don't know nothing about it. And you think you know it all. But and it went on and on. I said, okay, now here's the case. And I said it again, please be seated, or there's the door, or please find yourself to the exit. So, and then I said, because this homie don't play that. So I got really kind of like tense, and I was thinking,
Yeah,
no, I'm not going to go that
turn
route.
into Homie the Clown from In Living Color, the big old sock or whatever. Homie, don't play that.
I tell you. Yeah, so that was it. So, and then many people came more and more, and so they texted people, and then it went wrapped around the building, and I stayed there. But the person who actually arranged it made our driver go away, and that was not the intentions. So that's a small example, from the people who are non-believers. There are atheists that we actually went to visit, and they became believers, and so many more. We have the books in Turkey, which is Muslim country, and we have the books in no, in Polish, in French, in Spanish, in Dutch, and Turkish, and the list goes on. It's just it reaches everywhere, and that's what's need to be. That's my calling. And so, and everybody has their own gift. When we spoke, that's actually when I said, hey, James, you have your own gift. Everybody has a gift. The only thing is, sometimes we block ourselves with emotions, and then we don't pick up on that.
Well,
And that's sometimes,
I was having a conversation with Alyssa last night talking about the rear view mirror is so much smaller than the whole windshield. As far as like the amount of time people spend looking back when they're so much bigger in front. Um, it was just amazing me how much I was like, we 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 have we have so many right nows that we waste on right nows we'll never get back. And
yeah,
I just
and I hear you.
the the one thing that was kind of in my mind about what to ask you was, like there are, because you don't see yourself or identify yourself as like a medium. Like there are like the popular mediums who say like John Edward or Teresa Caputo or things like they say that like they see these images rush through, but you say you're a listener. Are there like coded things? Is there do they speak direct and like when there is like how do you filter those? How do you hear which ones are specific, and how do you know which ones to try to communicate with a person to understand like what message the angel's trying to give to the individual?
Yeah, yeah. Thank you again. So yeah, so this is how it works. Um, My gift is again clear hearing, and I can only answer the questions from the humans, and then tap into their loved ones in heaven, because I'm a prayer, and faith is for me very important. It's not about religion. It's about faith. So God is always in charge, and He's, letting me know what I can do and who's going to be in front of me. So when we do Zooms or in-home presentations or wherever I am, people can ask me questions, and I'll ask them, who were you thinking about in heaven? So they say the name and spell the name, and I'm immediately connected. Sometimes it just comes, but then already I'm in tuned because I can hear them and they, are talking. And sometimes I just, slide into the conversation and take a tactful approach. So I'm not freaking a person out who doesn't know me when I'm, maybe in the store or wherever. So in my mind, um, in the car, I have to say, when I go to the store, I never met them. I don't know them. And I have to do groceries. So I'm focusing on eggs and milk and cheese. But coming back to your question, how I receive things when people are saying the name and then spelling the name from their loved ones in heaven, then I'm immediately in their archives. God allowed me to do that. Personally, as Maudy, I do not socialize, so because I'm always in people's business. Do I want to be? Heck no. Do I have to be? Yes, because they're in front of me, so then I feel purpose driven. So for this matter, how I receive it through vibration, colors, images, scenarios, scenery, everything that I can actually translate and for human comprehension, which is a flash of a second, which is kind of like a light flash, and I can immediately translate that. Because your loved ones in heaven don't speak the language that you and me do.
Mm-hmm.
There's no time in heaven. There's no days, Saturday, Sunday, there's no days in heaven. It's just a beautiful way of receiving because only here on earth we have weekdays and time. So I receive everything through the vibration and through that link from it's a heavenly link and it's a telepathic world. So for me, I immediately can translate that for human comprehension, the message that needs to be related. And that's how it works. Like when you mentioned Teresa Caputo and John Edwards, I honor them, salute them. I have deep respect for them. And it's just they are gifted in their way, and I'm gifted in my way. So
Right.
for me as Madi, that's how I am wired. And that's why, because even with the people that that the people are in front of me, when you say the name and spell the name, then yes, I can immediately be in their business and, explain to you all their ways and their personality, but only when it's allowed by heaven.
Here's a question that you might not expect. When you log on to YouTube or you log on to Instagram, what's the first like stuff that pops up on your FYP? What's like the main stuff that you're consuming these days?
These days. Uh, Gosh, I don't know where to start. Um, Actually, I try to give myself only time to what I need to focus on. So often I am really not on the YouTube or my Instagram because I see how many people are in need and need help, and then I get a little bit overwhelmed. In this time, there's so many people who are so depressed. And so for me as Madi, I'm just positive, only positive. So people only hear positive messages, and then at that moment when I unexpectedly open up the YouTube, it's actually only for cooking and recipes. And okay, what can I make?
That's pretty positive. Yeah.
And what else? What else? When something that, like I said, what I can benefit from and of the the things that are coming to me as remedies. So that's a good, cool thing to see what you can eat and what can it do for you. So only for that. For the rest, I steer clear from negative things as much as I can.
Uh, so what do you think? I don't know if you've ever seen this, but there's theories that I've seen Neil deGrasse Tyson theorize that like you're in a timeline where like I know you just mentioned that like in heaven there's time is different and uh, all that works different, but like somehow to humans it's like you don't die, you shift into a timeline where you didn't die or something like that. Have you ever heard of something like that? And if you did, what's your opinions on that?
Well, that's also an interesting question. But, James, on the other hand, um, through this work, I can only, say as much. I can only give people that little bit of information behind the curtains and the veils of heaven. And this way, because here on earth we have too much stuff going on. We get ourselves too much in that bubble and stuff. So that's what my concentration is. But in that timeline, what you referred and what you talked about, it's very interesting because I just believe that when people cross over, the work is doesn't stop. It's only in a different way because in heaven people do earthly work from heaven to help people do heavenly work here on earth. So if they did not finish here, there is, what I've learned, there is always, those who are superior, whoever they may be, to let them then do that work through humans. So, if, for instance, you or somebody crossed over, if your friend or whoever crossed over early, then I always believe that that their life did not cut short. That they are called to heaven for the big reason, because to finish what they can finish through humans. And when that's finished, then it's between the soul and God to move forward, wherever that forward may be. You know? I mean, if that does that answer a little bit?
Yeah, it does. And I'm gonna get even weirder now, if that's okay.
Go for it.
getting getting even weirder, what do you think of uh, the idea that we're alone? We're alone in the galaxy. Do you think of other, like, if there's like alien life forms? Do you think of different universes? Do you ever have thoughts like that? Do you believe in things like that?
Yeah, it's interesting, you know, because me and my hubby, watch it, and it's very cool. And I'm thinking, okay, that goes beyond me, since I'm here to, like I said, relieve hardship. I'm a hardship reliever, so they call me Mighty 911. So that's what I'm focused on. But all the other stuff what's taking place is super interesting because, like I said, it's new knowledge to see. Okay, who's what and what is who, so we just have to see and observe, okay, where are these aliens then come from? I do not sit really still to question it. I don't give myself time for that because of my focus on other things, but it's sure fascinating. Do I believe in it? Well, there are big a proof that's there. It occurs, and it's just a fact, and that's what is very interesting. So yeah, to answer your question, I'm just observing and seeing, which alien might be standing in front of us. And there's so many aliens here that we might not know, but I don't want to get confused.
Did you ever see They Live, the Roddy Piper, where he puts the sunglasses on and he can see who the aliens are that walk amongst us?
No,
Oh, it
no, I
was like
didn't
a
hear that. That's new.
John Carpenter movie from the 80s.
Oh, no, that's new to me. I mean, if my husband hears this, he's probably interesting to see how and what, but I don't know. It's, there's so many things that we really do not know, and that is fascinating and that is interesting. So do you believe in that?
I I have to. I think it seems like there's so much. So the world and the universe and the galaxy is so much bigger than us being all the way alone. Unless unless the idea behind there being some simulation that we're in. Have you heard of that? Have you heard of a
Yeah,
simulation theory? And
yeah,
in the age of AI and us like chatting
yeah,
chatting with AI every single day, um, it seems like like I ask AI, and the same thing I'll ask you. What's the most common thing people want to know? What's the most common thing that people come back to in their conversations with you? And with AI, they have said mostly people a lot of times talk about like how to justify that we're in a simulation because that's like
yeah,
their coping mechanisms that they have. That's something in human DNA is to try to like make sense of everything. Uh,
yeah, yeah, yeah. Well, you see, sometimes I feel like the heavenly Google, and I use the heavenly Google and the Chat GPT. It's only on a heavenly way, and so the most often question, or how can I say that? What they ask me is, what's my future, my boyfriend, and what's awaiting me, and but then I leave that actually. I said, hold that thought, and then I actually focus on what needs to be lifted because otherwise, the person in front of me on the Zoom and a presentation cannot be open for that future that is awaiting them. But that's the common question that they ask, boyfriend, relationship, marriage, house, and actually career, often career. Will I keep my job? How are the people on my work? And sometimes I have to heavily Google that part, which I only see if that's necessary. And then they have, and this is interesting because at the same time, I see their patterns. the patterns from the person in front of me that needs to be changed first before they can make that choice to go into that answer of the decision making, future, career, house, relationship, and the list goes on. That's the common question.
Mhm. Have you ever, have you ever like called something? Have you ever kind of predicted something like something major that's happened in our time, like the COVID or some 9/11 or like some major life event here on this realm on this planet? Have you ever like kind of felt like someone had been trying to communicate with you something like that was going to take place? And if so, how did you feel about it?
Yeah, cool question. Okay, so I was driving with Gail, my friend, my co-author of 26 years, and we're driving on Independence. We came from presentation and we're driving home. And this was in 2019, I think the end of 2019. That was actually I think, our last presentation at home before the COVID hit. And we were driving home, and I said, "Oh, Gail," I said, "do you see all of these cars here? Do you see the groceries here?" I said, "They will be out of toilet paper." And I said, "They will be out of groceries." And I said, "There's no one on the streets." And I said, "It's going to be super empty." And she says, "Why do you say that, Marty? Do I need to get toilet paper?" And if Gail was here, oh, she knows many, many, many stories. So she would actually, fill in those blanks with the
Yeah.
stories. But this one was kind of like, oh, and Gail, I said, there will also be a blackout somewhere. So it might hit our bank too. I don't know. But it's always good to have a little bit, to lean on. And so I told her so many things more. And just when it's going to happen? So, oh, I don't know. I said, I just heard it through the heavenly grapevine. So I said, just make sure you have toilet paper. That's that, because I told her in the car, that is a necessity, Gail. You need to have toilet paper. So and then the COVID hit, right? And then she called me and said, I am glad I got toilet paper, Marty. I said, yeah, did you see that they were actually chasing a truck with toilet paper? And then the COVID hit. So that was then. And then what was the other one again? I can't remember. There were so many things. But I'll think of it when
Any
when that
any
when that.
any like pop culture things when you're like, oh well, like this is gonna happen with this person, and like when like just kind of like stuff that's on the news, like stuff that's in entertainment news, anything that's like a musician or an actor or things like that. Did you ever kind of hear anything about them? The angel whisper down the lane.
Yeah, and that's pretty cool because, like I said, what pops up right now, what I can say, but also not say. So, I know we have a large audience right now, so it's not what I say, but how I say it. So let me see how I can phrase this without, triggering other stuff. So, yes, it was actually I saw a picture from this a person on TV and who passed away, and I felt it's kind of like his loved ones in heaven. I think it was his grandmother or great grandmother. So I'm not going to be specific, but this was a celebrity, and the grandmother was letting me know that I needed to help a friend from him who were on a series. So he passed, and I was just saying, God willing, and that's what I always say when I hear that. And that happened just recently, and I think he passed away now a year ago or 2 years ago. And so that happened. She popped up out of the blue, and she was in the series as well. And she asked me um, about this person who passed away. and I think was drowned. Anyway, so that's what happened, and I was his link, and he was very specific and he was very clear. So I let her say the name and spell the name so I could be immediately linked in, so to speak, heavily linked in. And then I could deliver the message. And like I said, in life, I'm a little bit, if it was this person still living, I would be starstruck, but now I was heavenly struck. And so, and that was a different way to, address it. And yeah, that was a big help. So I
Right.
can't say anything further, but that happened.
Yeah. Well, I don't ask you to overshare or get any specifics that you can't get into, but I'm grateful. Thank you so much for sharing that. That's really cool. I think mostly I was wondering about if that had happened, not which. Tell me every single little morsel. I don't need all the details. It was more out of my own curiosity. So, um, did you have anything else? Not anything else, but did you have anything that you wanted to ask me? Did you have anything that you wanted to tell me we're
Yeah.
here on the record? Because
Yeah, I actually was full of questions when I talked to you first, and I was thinking, geez, where did this guy come from? He is so talented. And, I did not know about your wrestling. How many years did you do that, by the way?
it's 24 years.
Whoa.
So
Where did you start?
2002 was when I had my first match. I was 18 years old, and yeah, so that was 24 years ago. Yeah.
Whoa. So did you have a match with people that are that we know here,
Oh yeah, yeah,
celebrities and stuff.
yeah. Oh yeah, yeah.
Wow.
I mean, lots of and too much to name, but like pretty much if anybody's like a wrestling fan and they've watched wrestling for the last 20 years, they know
Yeah,
a lot of the people that I personally know, like a lot of the
yeah.
WWE wrestlers, a lot of
Wow.
AEW, NXT, all the mainstream pro wrestlers. I
Yeah,
know them, they know me. It's been,
yeah.
you know,
Hey, are
it's
you
a
going to the White House?
Am I going to the White? Well, the White House is going to be UFC, UFC and pro wrestling, and MMA or UFC. They're two different things. Um,
Oh,
but they're owned by the same company, but they're not the same thing. So like
oh,
the same corporation that owns the WWE owns the UFC, but I, I'm an independent. I'm an independent. Like I'm not WWE. I'm not AEW. I'm not. I don't have a contract. I'm not somebody who's. Uh, I don't want to minimalize myself in any way by saying
yeah,
this. I've never
yeah.
been I've never been kind of weighed down by a contract.
I see. I see. So, how do you get from that point to comedy? How do you get across? How do you get to comedy from wrestling?
Oh, you know, it's funny. I was thinking about this earlier when you mentioned something. I was gonna bring it up. The the When I was a kid, my my mom's cousin, who's also named Gail,
Yeah.
she said to me, "You're so funny. You should be a comedian." I didn't know what a comedian was, and I was like she showed me VH1. They had like this one like the stand up comedy night on VH1, and I would watch it like Rosie O'Donnell will host that, and I was like, oh yeah, I could do that. That's what I want to do. I'm gonna be that, and I would walk around telling everyone that I was gonna be a stand up comedian. That's all I ever wanted to be. And then I found wrestling when I was like 12. And then I was like, all right, I want to be a pro wrestler. So I started putting all my eggs in the being a pro wrestler basket. and forgot kind of about the stand-up comedy thing. But then I started being on shows pretty regularly, and I was like, didn't I want to be a stand-up comedian? And then I just started then I started hitting up some mics. And the thing is, like, the 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 name recognition that I thought I'd have, I
Yeah,
didn't have. I did. There was no clear. Hey, he's a pro wrestler. Let's just like get him into the fold. It was like
yeah,
I'm pretty much the starting from scratch, and that was also a long time ago. The first open mic I did in comedy was around 18 years ago. So I've been
wow.
kind of kind of uh, what's called a multi hyphenate for many years.
Oh, wow. That is so cool. So do you, how can I say that? Where do you get your material then from? Does it just pop up?
Well, I usually like I'll think a thing and I'll say it out loud, and if it gets one laugh by one person, I'll write it down, and I'll tweak the way that I'll tell it, and I'll retell it to another person and see how they laugh, and then I'll remember it, and then I'll take it on stage with me. That type of thing.
Yeah.
It's not. I don't get like I don't get a chalkboard. I don't get a whole idea inside my brain. I don't get the whispers. If I could get comedy whispers, I would love that. Give me some comedy whispers, heaven, please.
Hey, be careful what you ask for. It might hit you because those in heaven, will hear you. Also, question. So when you do your gigs, are you traveling then for that?
Right now,
Nationwide? No.
no, no, I'm not. I'm uh, in real life. I work security, so I work from Tuesday through Saturday. So like I can only do anything outside of work on Sundays and Mondays. So yesterday I had a local comedy show, and today I have a comedy show which is local. So everything is like local Philly Delco in Sundays and Mondays, and then everything else during the week is work. I I take my stand up comedy hat off and put my regular every single day. Like to to the audience, I'm Cory Kastle. I'm pro wrestler, stand up comedy uh, guy who did some movies and TV shows and things like that over the years. But to to the people at my job, I'm James. They don't know that I
Yeah.
I even do this. They don't even
Yeah.
know that I.
That is so cool.
I have a secret identity.
It's so cool. Now, see, that's what I mean. You're so talented. You go from here to there to there to there, and then, like I said, you never know which door is going to be open, in time. But I think also, with the gigs that you do, I got another question for you. So I hear about, I love watching the Jimmy Kimmel and Jimmy Fallon and, Stephen Colbert at that time. So all these people who do comedy. And anyway, some do you also do the roasting of some people in the politics? Or I don't want to talk about that, but I mentioned the word, but do
I
you don't want to dwell?
don't do much political humor. I I had one joke that I was doing for a while, but I was like, I don't want to split the room. I want everyone to just have fun. I don't want anyone to feel like they've got to like this to like me or like that to like me. I'd just rather them fully just enjoy themselves. But the joke, I'll tell it to you now.
Yeah.
I'd say, I'd say I've come across recently, uh, and this is not recent now because this is years ago that I used to tell this joke. I've decided that I'm gonna start calling him Forrest Trump because he wears a red hat and he just felt like running. That's the only that's the throwaway line.
And that's where you stop.
Don't do any more political stuff. No, because
Yeah,
like
good for you.
I'm not informed enough in it, and like with the other podcast that I host with my friend Lou, he leans more conservative, and like
Yeah,
he'll tell me stuff, and I'm just gonna tag it. I'm gonna make jokes out of
yeah,
it. I'm not gonna take it really seriously, and like I'll
yeah,
weigh in and I'll like
yeah,
be a commentator on those things, but it's not
yeah,
like I'm coming from a place where like I'm an ultimate source. Like if you're coming
yeah,
to me for your news source on policy and politics, like you skewed. Something's up with you.
yeah,
You
yeah,
know.
yeah. Okay, got another question for you. So when you back to the wrestling, so when you did wrestling time, do you have a cool story to share in what you think, okay, now that was weird and that was kind of like, you know, what what can you share? Fun, not fun, but also different story. What pops up in your mind
Um, hmm.
from that wrestling time?
So I mean, I don't consider myself out of wrestling. Like I don't consider that I was a wrestler. I feel like I'll be a wrestler till the day I die, and um, I I kind of had to step away about 5 months ago. So it's only been about 5 months that I've been inactive within the wrestling business because I broke my darn finger. See this finger? How crooked it
Oh,
is. Um,
holy
so
crack moly. Okay.
I'm getting married and I need this ring finger. I had to step away. I had to step away from wrestling so that I can fix my finger and not get injured anymore.
Well, good thinking. That sure was funny. That's good material. So yeah, that's cool. So what do you like? Are you stepping away from something that you think I want to do something else now? Since you have done this security, so you're actually also a little bit of bodyguard for maybe a company or whatever,
Right,
and then
right.
you have so many things that you've done. What is still in your mind? What you want to do yet? N- You know?
I I I like it. It's really rewarding and it's really fun for me sometimes. Like to do comedy, to do the podcasting. The fun thing about comedy recently is that like I've been able to make a little bit of money off. Not when I say a little bit of money, I don't mean like oh I'm making a living off of it, but it's like I have evidence that like I can like have a transactional situation
Yeah,
from my material, from my brain
yeah,
making me money. And this is like a thing that I think I've wanted to do forever. Like that's why I've been doing the podcast for 9 years now. Like
yeah.
this is let me just episode 379. I've done 378 other episodes of this podcast. So
Wow.
so I, I, if I could do this every day, if I could just chat with people who fascinate me every day, I would love to do that. Uh, and the part of the point I was trying to make earlier was I grew up my whole life going, I want to be a comedian. I want to be a pro wrestler.
Yeah.
I never thought I wanted to be a podcaster because that didn't exist yet. So maybe, and I say this to people all the time, if you ever feel like you're lost or confused or aimless, maybe the thing that you want most doesn't exist yet. So maybe
Right.
you're too early. Maybe you're early. Don't beat
But
yourself up. You're a little bit early.
But you see that there's so many things that pop up and that comes through other people that you think, yeah, that's maybe not now, but in time. So then there's always, I always say there's time for everything, but that's a good way to adjust yourself to maybe what's coming because you have experience with so many things. And I always say that's probably a preview, like you did acting, you did film, you did production, and you're also a producer. So, in many ways, you are a person of so many levels that's only one thing will pop out that is not revealed yet. And that will come to surface because all of that was your preview. Do you believe in that? That we go through previews to get ready for something big?
I hope so. I mean, I I I don't I don't know if I want to like stick my heels in the ground and say that I believe in anything or don't believe in anything. I feel like the amount of gray areas that exist in this world are like I can't say that I'm black or white on so many things because there's got to be flexibility. There's got to be flexibility
Yeah.
on like what you're 100% sure of today,
Yeah.
you could be very not sure of tomorrow. Like like I I mean I I I don't think I've ever shared this, but like I got I got the COVID vaccine. Um, I wouldn't have got it if I didn't. Like I was buying into all the propaganda. You know what I mean? And I was buying
Yeah.
into the fear mongering, and I like
Okay.
and then you like look into it now and like I said I don't like to get too political, but if you like look into it now there's all this like oh like what are you gonna what does this do, and they didn't have time, and I if I had the logical zoom out that I could have had back then. This is why I like to stay pretty fluid on my thoughts and my opinions about things because I I don't want to be known for being the guy who thinks this all the way 100%, can't shake my opinion on this because like I have believed things full heartedly that I've been wrong. And I've been wrong on a lot of things in my life. And I've had to kind of correct within my heart. You know, I've had to come to to the realizations that are like, you know, sometimes the truth is a hard pill to swallow, but I'm fully willing to swallow that pill as often as I have to.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's also a part of your life training, I believe, and that's what we're here for. We're going through that strong and intense life training to get us prepared for what's awaiting us, and no matter what we are facing. I always say life is to face it and embrace it. And once we're facing it, it helps us to move forward in a different way. I have a cool grandbaby girl, and she taught me how to give yourself space, you know. And grandma in Dutch is oma, so she calls me oma. And then I, I can sometimes say, can you sing that again? Can you do that again? Because I love her voice and I love how she does things. And then she says, Oma, can you give me space? And I was thinking, oh yeah, sure. And I was thinking, okay, yeah, I can give you space. So I learned, through her that she has amazing parents who teach her all of these, wings of wisdom things. And I think, oh my gosh, I learned to give myself space. I did not know there was a word for it. I just, call it retreat, give yourself space, retreat. But that's the thing. But, when you are so much, going to see and have this big volume of people at you, my question is also, how do you handle when people are so much there to overwhelm you in a way, but still you feel that you need to do something. Did you ever have that?
I mean,
I know I'm jumping from one thing to another, but with that space to be prepared for what's coming. What are your thoughts?
um, so the range of things I do, and I like to make this point. It's life is cyclical. That life
Yeah,
is life is a circle. I like to think that all of the things that I do serve every other thing that I do. So like if people discover me through this podcast,
yeah,
and they go, "Oh,
yeah,
he's a wrestler," then they discover my wrestling, and they go, "Oh, that," they discover me through wrestling. Oh, that guy's in a bunch of movies. Oh, that guy does comedy. Oh, that guy's in a podcast. That guy's in another podcast. And so everything else serves every other thing that I do. So if I
yeah,
uh, if I if I stay to be the same version of me anytime you see me, the guy who, if you're gonna peel back the layers of the pro wrestling performance and see who I really am, I'm gonna be that same guy in all of those things. I'm gonna
yeah,
be the same James, the same Cory Kastle that's gonna come out here and be be funny if I've got to be, or be serious if I've got to be
yeah,
contemplative if I have to be. It's like
yeah,
I really want to inspire people, like what you want to do. Like you want to turn people's luggage into backpacks. I want to make people inspired to be the real version of themselves that they didn't,
yeah,
like they convinced themselves that they couldn't be. Like convince yourself that you can be the thing that you think you can't be.
yeah,
That's
yeah.
kind
That,
of
that is so cool. I love your thought process because, like I said, through this podcast, and I thank you for this, I learn also so much about, different aspects of life from you and from where you were and how you do handle it. And yeah, it's just for me to also go from here to there and to make it fun and to just believe. And I always believe that your vision at the moment, at that time, or in the future can be your mission. So I like to, rhyme a lot so I can grab a hold of it. So I always think that your vision can be your mission. And everything that pops up, I always say, be careful what you wish for, because once it's here, it's submitted to heaven and it will take place silently and also, mm, in life, in the public way. So yeah, so many things are there in our mind that we want to do, and it only takes to have that process and through, like I said, heavenly sources, and then it manifests itself. So that's so cool because there's so much more that you and me are facing and embracing in a very positive way. So yeah, I believe that.
a thing that I frequently say, and I probably say it on anything. I've been on any podcast or any comedy stage, any wrestling thing. I always say this: the the currency of your effort and attention is so valued from me. So, like I always tell people, like if you got any value out of anything that I've ever said or done, or if you stuck around, how important that is to me. Uh, the, I just want to say how grateful I am for the currency of your effort and your attention today. Thank you so much for being here with me. I have just a few more things, and then I'm gonna send you off into the sunset with a hot dog and a handshake. Sound good?
Sounds super. Thank you for having me here, Kay.
So I have in the archives of this podcast talked to a lot of people where I say this this platform, this recording may outlive us. I mean, it's gonna be around for 30, 40, 50 years in the future. So I say, let's say 20 years from now, your your granddaughter stumbles across this recording of uh, what was it? What is the word that for grandmother in
Oma.
Oma? So comes across Oma on this podcast and wants like a little timestamp, little look into what right now is for so the next words you're going to say are going to be going into the ears of the 2046 version of your granddaughter. What are the things that you're saying to her?
Oh my goodness, I got to think about that. That actually, the space I started here to learn about that space and to share it with all of you is the space that we need. And that's the space that probably I will be in. um, God willing, I'll be here, but also in a God willing way, I'll be there in a different space. And I will say, I love you, and I always be around you, and all of you who listen in. I love this song. Just call my name, and I'll be there. That's what I want to say. I want to leave them and wish them all a beautiful, beautiful journey to give yourself space and make that space yours.
That's perfect. I wanted to mention something to you and I completely forgot about it until just now. Uh, so I have used this podcast many times to like have conversations with people. I I had this guest on named Artie, and Artie was close friends with Alyssa. So I knew he had cancer and he wasn't gonna be here much more, but I wanted to have all these on the record conversations with him so that we go back and listen and like it really helped us a lot. And a lot of times a lot of my friends who have been on the podcast later on, if they're not with us anymore, I'll go back and listen to the episodes, and it's therapeutic to have these on the record conversations. I had on the record a conversation with Artie, and Artie said that he was going to come back and visit us, and I just constantly I constantly uh, also remember when Alyssa and I first started dating. He knew I was a wrestler, so he would do these the videos with Alyssa where he would like cut promos on me, and he would like the way a pro wrestler would. So a lot of times, when I'm like sitting around, I'm like, Artie's not gonna haunt us. He don't got the balls, and then I'm like, you got you got. And I'll just pick on him the way he would have picked on me.
Yeah, yeah.
He ain't coming back. He's too much of a coward. He cut my pro wrestling promos on my dead friend.
And did he haunt you?
Nope, never has. Never has. No. Never. No.
Am I going to leave you with, well, guess what?
You got the balls. He's too much of a coward. The panty waist.
But like I said, he heard you now. So,
You know, anybody who's ever cut promos on their friends and ancestors, you,
oh my goodness. Your wedding is going to be phenomenal. And like I said, you never know where he pops up because he heard you. And you might be silently freaked out, but that's a good thing. And keep your ring on your finger and straighten it out.
it's straighter than it was. I mean,
Keep it there. Don't let it slide
it
it
was
off.
all the way it was all the way crooked like back in November. So it's
So,
a process.
it's a problem. Well, You're going to have a beautiful wedding. A big love for Miss Alyssa. And I'm so grateful and thankful that I was on this podcast. I had so much fun. And, when they all look back after those 20 years, like I said, God willing, but we'll be in contact. I hope I can come back and have a nice chat again after the
This
wedding
is
or so or whenever.
this is absolutely only the first time, and I want to put this out to you. Like, if you ever feel like I can be a resource to you in any way, if you just need a friend, if you just need somebody to talk to, please don't ever feel like you're burdening me. Uh, a lot of people come to you for help. Feel free to come to me if you just need some support. If you just need a friend, don't ever feel alone. You, we're friends now. We're bonded. It's not going anywhere.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. And I'm here for you. We're here for you. So thank you again. Big hug also for Miss Alyssa. And hopefully in the I know the future will bring us to be in personal touch that we can see you and embrace you. But for now, we will say until hopefully the next time. I can't wait to hear all these beautiful stories after the wedding. It's only a couple of weeks.
Yeah, it's 18 days away. Can I
Okay. Have a good day. Okay. Blessings. We will say until soon.
the way that we close out the show is I usually have the guests say, uh, "Be fun, have safe, keep evolving." Now, if you want, as a bonus, you can say this in an impression, in a voice, in any way that if you do any good impressions, if you want to say "Be fun, have safe, keep evolving" in your best impression.
Well, I can only say in the Maudy way. Be fun, evolving, and that's my best impression towards you. But in the Maudy way, I say, pray, people, and let the angels lead the way. In a rhyme, I close, and I thank you again for letting me be a guest. I feel honored and privileged. Thank you. It was so much fun.
Thank you, Marty. Appreciate you so much. Have a great day. Okay. Thank you.
You
Oh,
too.
I
Bye
heard
bye.
this.
Blessing.
I heard this lady say the other day, and I'm gonna start saying it often. This lady said to me, "Have a great life," because you never know. You never know.
Yeah.
So have a great life. Give yourself space. Be kind to yourself. Be kind to others. Be fun. Have safe. Keep evolving.
Yes.
Bye.
Those are the affirmations of my grandbaby girl. Be kind, be safe, and give yourself space. Lots of love to everybody. Bye.
Bye.